This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio.
Coming up today on the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio, we've got plenty to keep you entertained, inspired, and perhaps even a little opinionated. We'll be heading to Cineworld Milton Keynes to look at two very different films. One left me wondering if I'd wasted 2 hours of my life, while the other reminded me why I love a good crime caper. For book lovers, I've got two crime thrillers from Waterstones. One had me completely hooked, and the other less so. And we're also going to be taking 3 trips to Milton Keynes Theatre, where I've been lucky enough to see very, very different shows, from the hilarious and hugely talented The Trocs to the feel-good nostalgia of Karate Kid the Musical and the simply brilliant Operation Mincemeat. And as always, there's a touch of fashion. With holiday season in full swing, I'll be sharing why most of us, including moi, are guilty of packing too much when we go on holiday. Nobody needs 15 pairs of shoes on holiday. And how one client heading to Ibiza managed to create an entire holiday wardrobe from just a handful of carefully chosen pieces. And later we're going to be talking about the television drama that everyone is discussing right now, and that's Tiptoe. It's shocking, uncomfortable, provocative, and impossible to ignore. And I hope, like my show, it's also impossible to ignore. Stay tuned. And went to Cineworld Milton Keynes twice last week, and there were 2 films that left me feeling completely different. Savage House, although I've renamed it Bleak House because that's exactly how I felt after I'd watched it. This film follows a wealthy family's gathering at a remote country estate where long-buried secrets, tensions and resentments begin to surface. And unfortunately, despite an impressive cast including Claire Foy and Richard E. Grant, I found it disappointingly flat. I felt that Claire Foy was just playing herself in The Queen again, and I'm not sure why Richard E. Grant accepted this part. It just felt really, really flat. And I found the film really graphic. So it's kind of set in probably about 200 or 300 years ago, where there was no medical intervention like we know it today, and basically the social climbing family are waiting for the even more important family to come and visit them. What ensues is absolute chaos, and that they just sell all their belongings and make themselves ill. And Richard E. Grant's character ends up having a leg cut off, and they don't hold back. And then he has a gangrenous arm, and again, it's all very graphic and dark, and I just detested it. I absolutely detested it. I felt utterly bleak after it, so I've renamed it Bleak House, not Savage House. So it's at nil point for me. On the other hand, I thoroughly enjoyed The Tuna, and despite the title, this is not a film about fish, so there's no prawns, Nemo, anything like that in it, but it's about a piano tuner who finds himself drawn into the world of crime. The film stars Leo Woodall, who has come a long way since his breakout role in the White Lotus, alongside screen legend Dustin Hoffman, who I've not seen on our screens for years actually, but still going strong, still got that absolute magic that has made him the star that he is. It's an unusual and entertaining crime caper with plenty of twists, and what makes Woodall's performance even more impressive is that he actually learned to play the piano so he can carry off the role as a virtuoso piano player. It was outstanding. The result is a convincing, engaging performance that helps carry a film but felt fresh and clever and thoroughly enjoyable. And the premise is that Nicky, which is Leo Woodall's character, has this hearing condition where he's allergic to noise, so he has to wear headphones and he has sort of like an inner ear thing to sort of stop background noise, but he can hear. He's not deaf. Anyway, long story short, he gets dragged into the world of crime to help bust open safes because of his sensitivity to hearing. He can hear that click when the safe is about to open, and in order to help his friend Dustin Hoffman's character, who is very ill, and he wants to raise some money for his hospital treatment, he gets involved with this very, very nasty Israeli gang of safe thieves, basically. And it is chaotic, and it's a little bit dark, but it's also not. There's still moments of humor. But what I really enjoyed was the setting, was the world of sort of concert piano playing, and it was just, as I say, the fact that he learned to play the piano like a virtuoso pianist was just incredible. So yeah, one film left me wishing that I'd stayed at home, and the other reminded me why I love a good crime caper. From the big screen to the bookshelf now, reading 2 very different crime thrillers from Waterstones, one that hooked me but ultimately disappointed, and the other one had me turning pages well until sort of 3 o'clock in the morning, which is always a sign of a good book, but my god, I do pay for it the next day. So first up, was The Family Friend by Claire Douglas. The story centers on a woman whose seemingly ordinary life is turned upside down when someone from her past reappears, bringing with them secrets, suspicions, and long-buried questions. From the opening chapters, I was completely gripped, and she's really good at sort of creating tension and making you question every character's motives. But whilst I found the journey compelling, I found the ending really, really anticlimactic. You know, when you just like, I'm reading, I'm like, no, that can't possibly be true. And yeah, so the baddie, for want of a better expression, was, I don't know, it just felt like a bit of a cop out. So I was really, really disappointed, actually. Definitely wasn't, I don't know, I just massively anticlimactic. There's only one other way of putting it. However, this read was just made up for it. The Last to Disappear by Jo Spain is set in a remote Irish village where several young women have mysteriously vanished over the years. When a true crime podcaster arrives to investigate the disappearances, she uncovers secrets that locals would rather keep buried. It's atmospheric, tense, and packed with twists, and this is a thriller that keeps you guessing to the very end, and I did not see the ending coming. And for me, that's a sign of a good writer, is that you just like, I didn't see that coming. So I'm definitely going to read more of Jo Spain's books. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, couldn't put it down. So if you're looking for summer thriller, I'd say The Family Friend started brilliantly, but The Last to Disappear just delivers a complete package. Coming up, Wax On, Wax Off, Men Dancing on Point, or Going Undercover during Second World War at Milton Keynes Theatre. Now, if you're looking for 3 interesting nights out, all very different. I've seen 3 very different shows at Milton Keynes Theatre, all currently on tour, and most of them definitely worth catching if they come to a theatre near you. Now, the first was the brilliant La Ballet Trocadero de Monte Carlo, affectionately known as the Trocs, and often billed as a comedy ballet, but it's actually so much more than that. It's really, really clever. Yes, they're hilarious with perfectly timed comic moments and plenty of sort of affectionate parody, but beneath the laughter lies extraordinary kind of affection and skill and athleticism for the art of dance. And basically what these men do is they dance on point. And for any of you who have never watched a ballet before, men dancing on point is not a thing. It's always the women, the ballerinas, the prima ballerinas, who are on point on their block shoes. So the fact that this remarkable show, which is outstanding, is all pretty much done on point, is literally on point. I just absolutely loved it. Technically brilliant, very funny, doesn't take itself seriously, and yeah, I'd seen clips of it and I thought, oh, would I like that? Is it going to be taking the mickey out of ballet? Because I do love ballet, but I do sometimes feel like ballet takes itself a little bit seriously, but absolutely the Trocs does not take itself seriously. And I was really lucky. After the performance, I managed to grab a cheeky little interview with one of the dancers. He was from Japan, and he sort of said, the challenges of growing up in Japan as a young boy wanting to dance were insurmountable, and the fact that he's managed to make a career of it and is traveling all around the world, it was just so special. So he's kind of faced all the cultural expectations and stereotypes that made the journey far from easy, and he's actually done it. And talking to him, just seeing his little face light up, talking about what dance means to him and being able to dance on point, which again is just not done for men, it was just, for me, very special. So the Trocs prove that great art doesn't have to take itself too seriously. They entertain, they amaze, and they challenge perceptions at all the same time. And it's a wonderful evening, definitely not to be missed. So definitely catch it at a theatre near you. The second show I went to see, which was utterly brilliant, and I feel like I ought to talk in RP for this next link, actually, it was Operation Mincemeat. Phenomenal show, absolutely incredible. I saw it in the West End last year, and I was just delighted to see it at Milton Keynes Theatre again. It started life at the Edinburgh Fringe and is now on Broadway, and has won multi-awards, deservedly so. It's based on a World War II story. It's so crazy you couldn't actually make it up. Ian Fleming was even involved, and there were so many kind of nods to sort of the fact that he was trying to get published and talking about this character James Bond, and it was very, very amusing. It's just so brilliantly written. What makes it so amazing is that there's only 5 cast members, and they change at the drop of a hat. So they switch between dozens of roles, with sort of having to put on a hat or a cloak or a stick or a pair of glasses, and they just assume a completely different character just like that. It's literally on stage before your very eyes. It's so clever. And what makes it even more outstanding and astounding is the fact that these 5 characters are based on real life characters. That's what just blows my mind. So yeah, a crazy plot during World War II to sort of fool Hitler into sort of going somewhere else and not invading that particular country. It's absolutely fantastic, and I would recommend if you can't catch it on tour, wherever you are in the UK. It's playing at the West End, and deservedly so. And they have won so many awards. And again, you often hear about shows getting all these awards, and you think, is that just like a not deserved, but sometimes you think all the awards some shows get, you think, do they deserve it? But Operation Mincemeat absolutely deserves every single award it's got and more. So I absolutely would describe it as outstanding and astounding. And then staying at Milton Keynes Theatre, I went to see The Karate Kid the musical. Wax on, wax off, a little trip down memory lane to the 80s. And I remember the movie in 1984. God, that's 42 years ago. Good God, that makes me feel really old. So yeah, it's quite a niche thing, and they've based it on the movie, the 1984 movie. Did I like it? I didn't not like it. It's a weird thing. I found myself sort of thinking about other things and then sort of coming back to sort of focus on the show. And I think it's really difficult for a new musical to land sometimes, because there's so many musicals that are based on films now. It's kind of a given that if it's been a film in the 80s, it's going to be turned into a musical. And did it work? It kind of did, but I don't know why. I wasn't massively engaged. But the cast, I mean, yeah, a fantastic cast. I mean, Adrian Pang is absolutely outstanding as Mr. Miyagi, bringing warmth, wisdom, and humour to the role. And Gino Cello makes a really incredible his professional stage debut as Daniel. He's 19 and he's got that young pup energy and just, yeah, very, very overexcitable. But he looks like Rolf Macchio, who played the role in the movies all those years ago. And yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, for a stage debut, very, very impressive. This boy is going to go far. And then we had an ensemble member step in to play Ali, which is the sort of the third main role, really. Elena Bresci stood in. And again, as I say all the time, ensemble covers, swings, these incredible people who step in at the last moment and take on a character because they have to know all the roles you would not have known had they not announced it. So I didn't not like it, and I think if you are into the movies, either the first or the second, then you'll probably enjoy it. But yeah, it was okay. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I can't complain. And let's talk fashion. Let's talk holidays. It is that time of year. And I saw my regular client, Maria, this week, who's off to Ibiza for 4 nights with friends. And like so many of us, she was already thinking about what to pack. And if we're honest, people take too much on holiday, me included. Nobody needs 15 pairs of shoes and 10 bikinis. I was completely guilty of this when I was with my ex, because we always had 23 kgs of luggage each. And my God, we used to sort of capitalize on that. And when you're going away for 10 days, even 5 days, 2 weeks, nobody needs 23 kgs unless you're maybe going long haul and you've got a change of climate. But if you're going on a beach holiday, you do not need that many clothes. And I look back now and I just think, just absolutely ridiculous. When I went to Hamburg for 4 days in April, for the first time, I thought I'm going to do things differently because I didn't have much luggage space, and I had I actually stayed in a hostel. Go me, very, very down with the kids. So I didn't have a lot of space. So I planned a capsule wardrobe around my itinerary and made sure everything coordinated. Only took 1 pair of trainers. It made getting dressed so much easier. I can't believe I went on holiday and only took 1 pair of shoes. That's literally never happened. So with Maria, who is my regular client, she's an autumn season. I managed to sort of encourage her to stick to sort of neutral pieces she could mix and match. So with a little bit of animal print thrown in for personality, add a straw hat, plenty of gold jewelry, a red lip, and a huge tote bag. And you're going to fit in beautifully with with these gorgeous people in Ibiza. In the end, she packed just 2 pairs of shoes, 2 bikinis, and 3 cover-ups, and a few easy dresses for the evening. And what I do with my clients is, and with my holiday clients as well, is I do a video diary. So when you're on holiday, you're not thinking, what do I wear on what day? And you're not tempted to go off and buy some random stuff that when you get home, you're never going to wear it again. We've all been sort of lured into the thinking, oh my God, I love that sarong, or I love that, that swimming costume, and then you find you never wear it again. So if you stick with what you're going to wear day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and we absolutely did that. So the video diary showed her all her outfits so she'd know exactly what to wear on each day and wouldn't waste time deciding. So the reality is you will always need less than you think on holiday. And if you're panicking about your holiday wardrobe, message me on Insta and I'll help take the stress out of packing. Because as I say, nobody needs 15 pairs of shoes and 10 bikinis. You can pack so much less than you actually are going to use. And I'm sure all of us will remember coming home with clothes that you've not worn. We don't need to do that. And finally, TV. OMG. The drama everyone is talking about has to be Tiptoe on Channel 4. Created by Russell T Davies, this shocking and provocative series stars real-life friends and neighbours, the brilliant Alan Cumming and the equally brilliant David Morrissey. Cumming plays Leo, a gay nightclub owner who's lived next door for years to David Morrissey's character, Clive. Clive is a deeply flawed character, repressed, unhappily married, homophobic, racist, and quite possibly, I suspect, struggling with his own identity. His family is equally complicated. His eldest son, Saul, is earning a living through OnlyFans, and his youngest son, George, is only 16, is coming to terms with being gay. The drama explodes when George steals a key to Leo's house, a key his father has possessed for years. And what happens next sends shockwaves through both families and leads to revelations that are as uncomfortable as they are compelling. It's the kind of television that makes you gasp and shout at the screen and ultimately text your friends afterwards. And I was literally on the phone to my best friend Steph afterwards going, oh my God, because we didn't watch it at the same time. And I just said, brace yourself for the ending. I don't want to spoil it if you've not seen it, but it is probably the most shocking ending of any show I've ever seen on television. And the thing is, you see what happens at the beginning of each episode, so you know that this is how it's going to end. But to see it in such graphic detail and how it all comes to pass is just deeply shocking. But whether, as I say, whether you agree with this message or not, the series demands sort of conversation, and once again proves that Russell T Davies really remains one of Britain's outstanding television writers. It really does. I think it's probably one of those shows, as an LGBTQ ally, I had to watch it. It was just so important to watch it. And I think for any family that is going through this kind of turmoil where you're not talking to each other, and so many families just exist under one roof. They don't talk to each other. And it's quite crazy that you can be living under the same roof, sharing meals and actually not communicating, not speaking. And this family it goes much deeper than that. But deeply, deeply disturbing, provocative, and thought-provoking. Anyway, that's quite heavy. Next week, I'm going to be talking about ideas for your next cinema trip, theatre visits, holiday and wardrobe refreshes, and maybe some summer reads as well. And next week, I'm going to be also joined by Debbie Digby from Passion for Hair. Debbie is a business owner, educator, and mentor and author. And we're going to be talking about her remarkable career journey, building successful business, educating the next generation of hair professionals, and what it takes to succeed in a constantly evolving industry. So I'm wishing you an amazing week. This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show, and have a good one.